Okay, fantastic. Welcome, everybody. Tonight, we've got a special call. We are fortunate enough, look at all these faces. We are fortunate enough tonight to be on this call because this is the beginning. This is your chance to be in front of what I think is going to be a huge, huge movement. So it is my pleasure to bring on our CEO, somebody I've known for 20 plus years probably. And I have to say, the most brilliant marketer on the planet. He knows what he's doing. I mean, the guy, he's brilliant. So you'll hear that tonight. So Dan, thank you for spending some time with us. Tell us what is coming, well, what's here actually.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Shelley and Chip and everybody on the team for joining. Um, Really, we have kind of like a 2.0 version. So one, this is still an origin product. So it's basically the same ingredients as in the tri-GLP extract, but it's the powder. And the benefit of the powder is a couple things. One of which is that's what all the studies were on. So all of the studies that have up to 10 FDA claims, all of the different things that you can talk about the studies and what the product does. Now we can take the actual same dose of the same ingredients that the study was done on. The other major benefit is it's very easy for sampling. It's very easy for selling. Like people can break it up into a 3-day sample and sell it for $10 to $15, a 7-day sample and sell it for $25 to $30. Just fantastic. Everybody's seeing the information on GLP-1s, how big they are, and then they're just getting bigger and bigger. In fact, I was putting the presentation together that I'm doing at the top of the hour at 7 p.m. We have a presentation that you guys are welcome to join and hear a little bit more information about. But I just typed in, and even anybody can put this in Google, the total worldwide market for GLP peptides, including the research peptides. Now, the research peptides, it doesn't have a lot of information on, so it's just kind of guessing. But this is exactly what it said. This is straight from Google today. Approximately 132 billion to 140 billion in 2025, driven by massive demand for diabetes and obesity treatments. The overall peptide therapeutics and GPL receptor agonist market is predicted to reach between 260 billion and 334 billion by the early 2030s. And just to give you an idea of what that means, pharmaceuticals like Adderall do about 20 billion. Pharmaceuticals like Viagra do about 8 billion. The entire nutraceutical patch market does about 750 million. And so you're talking about something that is absolutely massive. And I think really for the first time in the history of nutrition, you have the #1 selling pharmaceutical in the world that now has a nutraceutical alternative with the same studies, better results, 100% natural instead of 100% synthetic, pretty much no known side effects at all. And is, if you're talking about the pharmaceutical drug without insurance covering it, it's probably 90% or more less expensive. 90 to 95% less expensive. You don't have to go to the doctor. You don't have to pay for doctor's office visits. You don't have to hope that your insurance covers it. And most insurance companies have dropped GLP coverage because it's so expensive and there's so many people on it. And so it's becoming more and more driving people towards this gray market area, which is the research peptides. And there's so many companies getting involved with that, you have no clue what you're getting. And the issue that you run into with these peptides, they're all synthetic and they are extremely potent. Like retatrutide, which is, all the studies with Eli Lilly, they've spent hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars trying to bring that into the next big pharmaceutical because it's far superior to the GLP-1s. They've made a lot of improvements, a lot of corrections, but it hasn't been approved as a pharmaceutical yet. But with that, the average serving for about 5 to 6 weeks is 10 milligrams. Most people are doing 1 milligram per week. And so it's kind of a weird comparison, but I'd compare this to what the drug companies have done compared to natural products. and we'll talk about like the illegal drugs, you look at fentanyl and why they're adding fentanyl to drugs because it's so potent. You take just a little bit too much and you die. Not saying that that's happening with the peptides, but you take a little bit too much and it's paralyzing digestive systems. People are going blind. People are losing muscle mass. People are losing bone density. You're taking something again that the body was not meant to use at all, and something that again, when you're talking about 1 milligram per week, a normal capsule is 750 milligrams. So you're talking about one capsule, something 750 times smaller than that, being a weekly dose. And so again, that's a little bit dangerous, and a lot of people have had adverse side effects, many of them irreparable, and that's why there's billions and billions of dollars in lawsuits going against the pharmaceuticals. And so the exciting part about this, again, we have 100% all natural product derived from salmon, the fish salmon, but it's actually no longer salmon because they break it down all the way through an enzymatic process to the short chain amino acids, which is what a peptide is. Peptides, even though it's super hot right now and what people are talking about them and seeing, it's nothing new. Peptides exist in pretty much all of our foods that contain fiber or contain protein or contain anything like that. Anything that has amino acids is going to break down to peptides. And the peptides are basically short chain amino acids that work as the signaling molecules to the body. And here's another interesting comparison. What you're hearing about in these synthetics, it's called an agonist. And so it's pretty much sending the body the signal to create this, and it's acting as if it's the actual hormone or in this case GLP1, GLP2, glucagon, or something like that. So it's forcing it into the body. Ours, where it's 100% natural, how the body is designed to take these peptides, it's actually signaling the body to produce its own. So instead of putting something synthetic, an example of this would be like going on a diet and exercise program to increase your testosterone, as opposed to just taking synthetic testosterone that's instantly going to signal your body to stop producing it. So this does the opposite. Instead of this basically showing up in your body and the body's like, hey, where did this come from? And now it's telling your body to stop producing it or to not produce it. This is the opposite. This is literally telling your body to produce the GLP-1, GLP-2, GIP. But the benefit of this over just food is food, you're really dependent on your entire digestive system working correctly, the food being prepared correctly, the enzymes and the probiotics and the proteins and all of that not being broken down by how it was prepared, how it was cooked, and or how it was processed, and the things that were added to it. From the time that it was caught in the ocean or wherever it was caught until the time it ends up. They shoot them with so many preservatives and so many chemicals and dyes and colors and all of that stuff. So by the time we get what we think is food, it's really not, doesn't have the living nutrition. And then again, a lot of people that have some issues, whether they have gut issues and they're not, they don't have all the digestive enzymes to digest it, break it all the way down into the short chain amino acids. This is just basically making it very easy on the body because you're getting it in the perfect form without the body having to break everything down. Now, here's the unique thing that we have going on right now. We launched the Tri-GLP extract, and these bottles right here, November 11th of 2025 is the first day we put it up for sale. We put 5,000 bottles up for sale. They sold out in 1 hour. Now, let me explain how we sold 5,000 bottles in an hour. November 1st, we launched a website called The Big Beautiful Reveal. And basically, it wasn't telling exactly what was coming. It was just hinting that we have a massive launch, a big product, a massive marketplace, all of those types of things, patented, clinical studies, FDA claims. And so just kind of hinting at it, and it allowed people to position other people for free. A lot of people just kind of ignored it and just said, hey, I want to wait until the product comes out. A handful of people went for a massive run, like what we're doing right here at this Freedom Run, and they put in about 40,000 people in 2 weeks. And out of those 40,000 people, when we put up the 5,000 bottles, they sold out in less than an hour. And the reason we only put up 5,000 bottles is because we were working on, we had just finished the registration for the EU, so we had to get some product to the EU, and wasn't ready to launch and getting everything up and running. And so the next thing that we did is we put another 10,000 bottles on Black Friday through Cyber Monday. And those 10,000 bottles sold out the first day. So it didn't even last Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. And then we sent some product, 5,000 bottles, because our business has not been massive in the EU, but we was getting some excitement on this free launch in the EU, but we still didn't have unlimited product. We had only been working on it literally at that time for barely 1 month. So we started on this project in October 10th, and then we already sold our first 5,000 bottles in an hour, less than a month later. And then again, a few weeks later, another 10,000 bottles. And so we launched it in Europe, or pre-launched it in Europe on 12/12 with 5,000 bottles. They also sold out in a couple hours. Worked out to be something that was not so great for us, because with Christmas coming up just a week or so later, and the New Year's, it took us a while to get them a good inventory back in stock up into January. But then if you just look at January, we started marketing in Mexico, some in South Africa and Australia and UK and New Zealand and all of Europe and Eurasia. And so we started kind of selling more worldwide January of 2026. Now we've sold over 200,000 bottles. At the point right now, we're selling about 2,000 a day. We have the top leaders that came in the free launch are now making between $10,000 to $30,000 per week, not per month, per week. And so what we decided to do with the launch of this powder, and we're very excited about the powder. Again, the extract has been fantastic. There are some benefits. The benefit of the extract is logistically for us, it's great, because we're shipping these small bottles, and one bottle is enough for 36 servings on a single serving, or if you take 2 servings a day, it would be 18. So the average month supply on the extract for somebody who's really looking for all of the benefits is 2 bottles. You do 2 servings a day, 2 bottles would last for 36 days. On the powder, you can literally go with the same doses that the studies are in. And there's studies from 1.5 grams all the way up to 16. Now, what they've learned is the 16 is a little bit overkill. There wasn't that many more benefits by taking 16 grams. Kind of the sweet spot is between 4 and 12, just kind of depending on the person's sensitivity, the size of the person, and things like that. So that would be between 1 and 3 sticks per day. What we've been working on for the last month or so is people just taking 1 stick a day, and the results have been fantastic, very, very exciting. The other main benefit is, as I mentioned, just the ability to sample, to break up your packs and sell. There's so many markets throughout all of Latin America, the entire continent of Africa, most of Southeast Asia. Those markets do a lot of retailing. And so it's much more difficult. And those are all very small economies, meaning like if you just look at California, California is bigger than all of Latin America combined. So you take every Latin America, you take Mexico, Central, and all of South America, you add up all their economies, California is bigger. So what's same thing? You take up every economy in the entire continent of Africa, 1.6 billion people, California is bigger. So most of these economies, the people aren't living month to month, they're living day to day, week to week. And so even though they will consume a product daily, like the Tri-GLP or like the Ignyt, they typically wouldn't purchase a month's supply. They're just trying to get a week's supply, a couple days, and then they'll get enough money to get a couple more days and a couple more days and a couple more days. And so it's very popular in other markets to break down the month supplies, make them into a little bit smaller for the masses that can't afford to buy a full month at once. And so that is very easy to do in stick packs. It's almost impossible to do in the liquid extract. And so a couple things that we're doing. One, we really like the concept of BMore and that product, and educating people on how the mind works, how the brain works with the universe, how transformation happens, like anything that you want in your life, how you can get that. And so we thought, this would be a perfect time to create a system that has Ignyt and BMore together. And we're calling that Ignyt 750. And I'll explain here in just a minute where the 750 comes from. I'm going to walk you through a system that can just show 3 simple steps to some massive income. And then how we can take advantage of this next 3.5 weeks, or this next 3 weeks, or whatever it is between now and the 4th of July. 4th of July, we don't know 100%. We're hoping that we have inventory by then, but it just depends on if the packaging and everything comes in on time and there's no delays, we'll have product. If not, it might be 7 to 14 days after that. But on the 4th of July, either way, in the United States at least, we will be doing pre-orders. There's 2 packs, $100, which includes 1 bag, plus it includes BMore. So you have 1 bag for 75, BMore for 25. It's $100. It's ADCV. Now the benefit here is it qualifies for both lifestyle bonuses. We don't have any other packages in Be Epic and Origin and anything that we're doing that one SKU qualifies for both lifestyle bonuses. So the 2x2 is 150. The 3x3 is 450. The 4x4 is 750. That's where we get the Ignyt 750. That's what we're going to focus on. The 5x5 is 1,050. So with as small of a group, with 0 people spending more than $100, with as little as 30 people, you're going to be making about $1,300 per month. And so now people can kind of sit there and say, you know what? That's probably doable. Because one of the problems that people have is you have a group of networkers that do virtually nothing, and that's a large group of networkers, and there's just not a whole lot that we can do for them. But there's another group that does a pretty good job on their own, and their personals, they even get them to duplicate a little bit, but the duplication stops by level 3, 4, 5, 6, and their group doesn't continue to grow geometric progression. And in most cases, they can build a team. They can get 4 people. They get 4. But in most compensation plans, that's not going to pay a whole lot of money. That might pay $50, $100, something like that. Here, as you'll see in just a second, it's going to pay over $800 per month. And if you got 5 who get 5, that's a total of 30 people. It's going to pay about $1,300, $1,400 per month. And so now you have something that I wouldn't say the average networker, the slightly above average networker that's not, making tens of thousands a month or hundreds of thousands a month, that's been kind of struggling in that range to make somewhere between $50 and $200. Now I think we can easily get them to $1,000 per month. And once they get to the $1,000 per month, I think just the excitement levels, the belief levels, it's much easier to be excited and push and follow a system if you're making $1,000 than if you're making 50, 60, 70, or even $100. And so that's really what we're doing here. We launched Ignyt.biz on Saturday. So Ignyt.biz, every single person that's in the company has it. So Ignyt, IGNYT, so it's not a correct spelling. That's one of the great things about 2026, where the internet's been out for 30 years. It's almost impossible to get a domain name that makes any sense. So now you have all kinds of interesting spellings of things. Ignyt, IGNYT, .biz / your username. It's live. We have a 3.5-minute sizzle audio, and then people can just lock in their spot for free. As soon as they do that, they have the site. They can lock in their spot for free, etc., etc., etc. And this is again on this exact Freedom Run launch with the Ignite.biz, we're starting 3 calls per week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tonight will be we did one on Saturday night with just a small group, and then we're starting Monday, Wednesday, Friday for anybody who wants to join. It's at Gold to Diamond, GOLDTO, diamond.com. It's a Zoom, and again, it will be in 30 minutes from now. And so then we'll do another one Wednesday. We'll do another one Friday. We're going to record one tomorrow. The recorded one we will put on the website so that people can share it 24/7. Right now we have the 3.5 minute message, which should probably be enough to get somebody to take a free position, especially if it's somebody that you have any type of a relationship with. Now, there's a couple things that you can look at. One is you can have a goal of getting 2 people. What we've talked about in the past, what we talked about with BMore, what we've talked about with even this, getting 2 people in 48 hours and teaching them to do the same, teaching them to do the same. But what we're really pushing and going to focus on more, we just changed it a little bit because it takes less steps of duplication. It gets out to about the same thing. It creates a spillover, which is going to create a little bit more excitement. So let me just go through an example of 3 steps based on the 4 who get 4. And the thing that I want you to be thinking about is the benefit of being able to bring those people in for free right now. And they can bring the people in for free, who can bring the people in for free. And just 3 simple steps, you can have a pretty massive income and not have to do something that is super hard. So I'm going to share the screen right now. I'll walk through these. I'll explain them in decent detail so that you have a basic understanding of where the numbers are coming from and what's happening. So step 1, this is when people start to place the orders, and we're assuming this as a second order so that you have full CV. If it was a first order, you're going to have the fast start bonus, and then you're going to have the 20% of the CV going into the compensation plan. So a really easy way to break this down is the incomes other than the $750 bonus, that's the same, would be 20% of what I'm showing. And so I'll go through right now. So the first step, get 4 people, 2 on your left, 2 on your right. And here's another thing. What I'm showing is only accurate if you're the master distributor and had nobody above you, or if you have somebody above you that's doing absolutely nothing. And the reason I say that is if let's say I was the master distributor and I bring in my 4, I've already created 2 people spilled over. And so this isn't counting anybody spilling over into your organization. This is if your organization is starting from you and you have absolutely 0 help from your upline. Realistically, some people already have a leg that's going. Some people already have a leg that's massive. And so the income could be double or triple just for the same amount of work. This is like 0 upline, nothing happening, no spillover. And if you do this, everybody in your downline is going to have it significantly easier because every single person other than your first 2, they're all spilled under somebody else. So what that means is if they're doing the same thing, they're going to make, double the money. But obviously, we're not showing that because we don't know what your upline's doing, if your upline's doing anything, and you can't rely on it. It's your business. So 4 people, 2 left and 2 right. The CV on the $100, we're also doing the $100 instead of the $130. The CV on the 100 is 80. So 2 people left, 2 people right. The volume on that would be 160 on both legs. You'd be a brand partner because you're just starting. A brand partner makes 8%, so you'd be $12.80. Now, as those 4 get their 4, it would be 8 on your left, 8 on your right. That's $640 in volume. Still a brand partner. You haven't done $1,000 on your pay leg yet, so $51.20. Your check match would be $12.80. How does it the $12.80? Well, because your 4 people each got 4, and as you can see, when you get 4 people, you make $12.80. You take the $12.80, you times it by 4. That's what your personal's made. You get a 25% match. So that's where the $12.80 comes from on the match. And then you qualified for the $750 bonus. So this first step, 4 who get 4, 20 people, $826.80. All of that income is residual. So if those people reorder the next month, you're still making $826. Now, the reason that we focus on something like this is if somebody achieves this, your retention is going to be virtually 100%. There's not many people that are going to cancel a $100 auto ship if they're making $826.80. Now, step 2, the 16 people on your, it's not even your second level, but the 16 people, you get 4 who get 4. Now there's 16. Those 16 need to get 4. When those 16 get 4, that's going to be 64 people, 32 left, 32 right. When those 64 get 4, that's going to be 256 people, 128 left, 128 right. So this is duplicating that 4x4 one time, meaning everybody in that group of 20 also created their own 4x4. So $2,560 in volume. You're now at the gold rank. With that, it's $307 once that level completes. The next level of the 128 is 10,240. You're still gold, and that's 1,228. The check match at this time would start to be growing. Now it's $555.52. You still get the same $750 bonus. And then if you add in the income from the first step, you're at $2905.52. Again, that's all residual as long as the people continue to order. And then step 3 is where we stop it. Obviously, if you've created this type of an organization, it's not going to stop there. It's going to continue to go. The reason we stop with 3 steps is the 4th step, the income would be over $600,000 for the month. So 512 left, 512 right, 40,960 on both sides. You're going to be a black diamond at this rate. That pays 18%. So 18% of the 40,960 is 7,372.80. The next level, 163,840 in volume. 18% of that's 29,491. Your matching checks are going to be 16,857 plus the same $750 bonus. So after step 3, you're making $55,321.60. Now, when we talk about on this run, the goal is to make $10,000 your first month. If you had this type of an organization, your first month would be about 20% of that, which is about $10,000, a little bit over 10,000. So even your first month, you would still make the 10,000 in volume. If somebody is focused on only BMore, and they created this same situation, you're going to be, even though it's only $25 instead of $100, you're still going to be making the same amount, still making more than the 10,000 because the volume is very similar. So the volume on this, 20% of the 80 is 16, so it's a little bit less volume than what BMore is. But as soon as they reorder that first month, then it jumps up to 80 CV and the income significantly higher. And again, this is based on you being the top of the tree or have an upline that does nothing. Your upline's doing anything, your income's going to go up because obviously this pays on volume. It doesn't matter who sponsored them, how they got there. All the volume is paid the same, other than the matching checks, obviously. So if you have an upline that does the 4 who get 4, you're going to have at least, depending on what side of the tree you're on, but you're going to have at least 9 people spilled underneath you. And then, that's going to continue on with every one of these levels. Only 2 can go on their first level. Everybody else is spilled under. So when you look at this organization, it's a little over 5,000 people, about 2,700 left, 2,700 right. And all but 2 of them are spillover. So out of like the 5,400 people, 5,398 of them are spilled over into other people's organizations. This document doesn't count for any spillover. So that's just an example so that you can kind of understand what can happen. And so the goal in this type of a freedom run where people can join for free is to get as many people as you can. We had some people that were doing a project 10,000. Project 10,000 sounds, very difficult, but if you got 10 people who get 10 people and you go down 4 levels, you're going to be 11,110 people. So first level is 10, second level is 100, third level is 1,000, fourth level is 10,000. You add it all up, it's 11,110. And so that's what a lot of people were pushing towards. People with a decent sized database, they might be able to get 50, 100, 200, 500 to come into something at a free sign up. And so it's really just the opportunity instead of just waiting for this to launch in July and letting everybody know, hey, we have a new product launch. You can order it now. We decided, why don't we set people up so that they can go out there and really create some excitement in what we have going on for 3 weeks or so. Then people can order and still make a significant amount of money in a month or less. Because right now we have less than a month till the 4th. And so if somebody went in, obviously you're not making any money when you're bringing the people in for free. But as long as they're bringing in people, that week between the 4th, 5th, 6th, all the way till that Wednesday, which I think the Wednesday is probably the 4th is a Saturday. So Sunday is the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So I think the Wednesday would be the 8th. So between the 4th and the 8th, when people are ordering, I personally believe we'll have several people making, 10, 20, $30,000 in that 4 day period. And the reason I'm saying that is we already saw it with the people that did a 2 week pre-launch with the big beautiful reveal and sold 5,000 bottles in the first day. A couple weeks later, sold 10,000. And so the benefit that we have here, we're not turning this on for 1 hour and then shutting it off. We're bringing in tens and tens and tens of thousands of month supplies. We know this is going to be a big seller. We know people are excited about it for this simple fact. It's so much easier to share. It's so much easier to retail, and we can use all of the studies are based on the powder. So now we know how to dose it. This is what they did the studies on, and there's again 10 FDA claims just on the studies. If I go back and just kind of show some of the stuff that we'll be covering tonight on the website, it talks about right here over 50 million invested in research, 10 plus years of studies, eight plus published studies, 6 FDA claims. Now it's up to 10. So this data is actually a little bit old. 80 plus countries, and again, the other big benefit of this product is virtually impossible to duplicate. There's one company in the world that can do it. They have the patents. They have all the information on it. And right here is when they signed the exclusive of the Provo product with our holding company. So again, this isn't like back in the mid 90s where you had like a berry, like a fruit like noni get popular, and then every company could instantly go out and have their own noni product. Or acai comes out, and then every company can go out and create an acai product, including Walmart, Costco, all of those. This is something that is not easy to do. These guys have one of the largest salmon producing companies in the world. They process about 100,000 tons per day. And you need those types of raws in order to create large amounts of this product. And it just doesn't exist in the world. Even if they understood how to do it and they could get around the patent and figure out a different way to come up with the same stuff, there's just not the fish available to do it in massive quantities so that you could create product for millions of people to use on a monthly basis. And so we're super excited about it. We're excited about this Freedom Run. This is just an additional option. Even if you just went all in and focused only on BMore, where people we have that short, 2-minute sizzle message on a Freedom Run. People can make a decision for $25, instantly try and get there too. And even with that, that you have the potential to make tens of thousands of dollars by the 4th of July. So we're just giving you additional options. The benefit here is the CV on the reorders will be 80. BMore is always going to be 20. So in reality, it's really not that much harder to get somebody in for 100 or even more than it is for 25, because the only reason somebody's going to join is if they see the value and they think they have a chance of making money. Right now in the nutraceutical world, there is nothing bigger than peptides. Everybody, not just in the United States, in the entire world, are hearing about peptides and wanting to get them. And what they're hearing about, it is not real peptides. They're mimicking peptides. They're 100% synthetic. Their injections, 90% of them coming from China, that you literally, as big as they are now, you have almost no idea what you're getting. Very similar to when HCG blew up and HCG was going crazy. Before you knew it, what people were spending money on was not even similar to HCG. It was no regulations, no nothing, no HCG, people spending hundreds of dollars on bottles, and then people just trying to get in on it. And you're running into the same things with peptides now. You have research peptides selling for $800, and then some people are selling them for $40 on their site. So figure out there. It's the same thing that's happening with HCG. At HCG, people are selling for $400, and then all of a sudden you start seeing it for $10. Is it possible that that's the same product? Not likely. And that's kind of the issue that people are running into right now. I mean, you can buy retatrutide from somebody at the gym for maybe $50, and you can go to a weight loss clinic and they're going to charge you $600. And you have no clue what either one of them are. And they both say not for human consumption, research purposes only, which is what they're trying to do to protect themselves, which in reality is probably not going to work that well because of the way that they're selling it. And they're not selling it as research only, meaning that I could say I'm going to do research on myself, but that's not what it's meant for. It's meant for people that have labs and are doing actual research on these peptides. But this is something that they've already done the research. They spent tens of millions of dollars over 10 plus years. And so we have the nutraceutical. If you're looking at compared to the pharmaceutical, 90 to 95% less expensive. If you're comparing it to the research only peptides, it's still, if you're comparing what the average price is, we're still probably 50 to 75% less expensive. And those, there's pretty much no way to monetize it unless you get into it, find a supplier, start your own business. And in order to do that, you're going to have to build your own website. You're going to have to find some company to merchant it, which is almost impossible. Unless you have amazing relationships and a great track record and a lot of money, you're not going to get anybody in the world to merchant these research peptides because it's too risky. They don't even know what they are, where they're coming from. But here, you don't have to build a website. You don't have to come up with your own merchant account. You don't have to come up with your own inventory. And you can monetize the hottest thing that's in the nutraceutical world right now. And for the next 3+ weeks, we have the ability to go all in, get as many people in as we can for free. And I do think, it's hard to say because it really depends on how many people run. I was not surprised that we put in 40,000 people in 2 weeks before. I would not be surprised if we put in 100,000 plus in this 3.5 weeks as a entire company. Now, if we do or if we don't, it doesn't really matter. The product's going to be massive as soon as we launch it. But if people, the more, even if you get in 50 people in your entire organization, even 100, it's going to give you a little bit of a head start. And you can see if you can get that 4 who get 4, you're already done with that one step. You duplicate that 2 more times, you're making, $600,000, $700,000 per year in residual income. And that's if it stopped there. It's not going to stop there. If you have a group growing like that, it's not just going to all of a sudden stop. And that very next step, as I mentioned, if we showed a 4th step, That's getting very close to $1 million a month. A fifth step, it's well over $1 million per month. And so again, these numbers are crazy, but nobody's sponsoring more than 4, nobody's spending more than $100. And I can do the same thing with nobody sponsoring more than 2. I just have to show 6 steps instead of 3 steps. And I just think that it's a little bit easier to show 3 steps and for people to see that 20 group. And even if it takes them 3 months, 6 months, a year to build that core group of 20, it's going to be $800 and some a month. And 80+% of the world, that's a full-time income. 80+% of the world makes less than $1,000 per month, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it's a fact. And if you look at something, we can show people how to make $1,300, $1,400 with 30 people spending $100. That's a total of $3,000 in volume. And they're going to be making about $1,400, almost 50% of that volume, one person. And so that's something that I think is going to be exciting for a lot of people. So many times when you're looking at geometric regression, and even though we start with 2 and 4 and 8 and 16, before you get to big numbers, even $1,000 or $2,000 or $4,000 per month, you're getting into hundreds or even thousands of people. Here, you're getting close to $1,000 a month with 20. You're getting close to $1,500 a month with 30. The hottest product in the market. 10% of the US population right now, an estimated 10% is taking a GLP-1 product. Here's the bigger thing. 30% are looking. And why aren't they taking it? Really, the only 2 reasons: they're hearing about all the side effects and the expense. Their insurance doesn't cover it. They don't have good insurance. They don't have the $1,000+ to go and pay the doctor. So when those 30% are looking, where are they going to find it? They're going to find it by people posting on social media, by people telling stories, by people sharing testimonials. If you look just like right here as an example. This is a testimonial group, 341,600 members. 341,000 people going and looking at the tens and tens of thousands of testimonials that we already have in barely 6 months. Another 6 months, that could be 1 million, 5 million, 10 million people sharing testimonials. And so there just isn't very many opportunities like this that you can, again, we guarantee $10,000 if somebody will follow the system. We have the car giveaways. Here's a picture of the actual Jeep. It's actually parked right out front. I could switch to my phone, walk over there 30 seconds from now, and you guys could see the next car giveaway. 50% retail instant pay, 1,050 lifestyle bonus, car giveaways, $10,000 guarantee. Everybody can get started for free. 10-year-old debt-free company, offices all over the world, hundreds of millions in sales, hundreds of millions paid out in commissions. Compensation plan hasn't changed in 10 years. So those are some things that the people are looking for. They want the stability, but they also want something new. 0 people have tried this product. So very few people even know this product is launching. Over the next month, our goal is to make it that tens of thousands of people know that the product's launching and want to participate in it. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it back over to you, Shelley, because I have the other call in 7 minutes, which you guys are welcome to join if you're not tired. If not, it's not a big deal. We'll have a recording tomorrow, and then Wednesday we'll be doing the same thing.
Okay, well, I think everybody can agree that Dan is brilliant. I hope y'all learned a lot. That was fun, and I hope you're excited. This is your time to be in the beginning of something. This is our time. So thank you, Dan. I know you got to go. Guys, gold to diamond.com. is the link for the Zoom that he's doing. Those will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you, Dan. We
It
appreciate you
should be
so much.
about 20 minutes. I'm going to
Okay.
go through similar information, just much faster.
Okay, well, we appreciate you for jumping on here. You're busy. We're excited. Everybody say thank you to Dan, and we'll do a frenzy in the morning.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Dan.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Dan.